it's about the mindset, basically, and about applying the knowledge that you acquire at school into the real world, be it at school or be it at beach. I think it's actually, I think a lot about the movie you showed us at the beginning, because for me that's all about mindset. If you have a school hacking mindset, you can apply to many things. I think that's what, from our side, what we follow so great these days, that we see a development in Max, in his way of thinking, outside of the box.
Yeah, and what, from just a math perspective, he was really stressed out about math when he went to school. In his former school, he had a really bad experience in math class, for example. And we were worried about that because we thought he was very far behind in math and he was stressed out about it. And we could see a big difference quite fast that he was not so stressed about it. He said, no, but I will solve this. I know this. I can do it in a different way. I can think in a different way. And he found another way of handling this stress, which I think was fantastic. And I think a big thing was that he was outside of the classroom.
Just on this whole thing, I think, you know, we are extremely lucky that we went through this, you know, and the kids, I mean, it's mind-blowing what, if you took the kids at the start of last year and you looked at it at the end of the year, you would be blown away. And they learn, I mean, outside of the box. They also, I think, what we're not grasping is they do spend a lot of time in class too. So they're still doing their maths, they're still doing their English, they still have to come on and do their homework. But a lot of it is, they're so creative because they're thinking, all right, we're going to do this and we're going to experience this. So they come home excited about doing it because they know they get through this, they've got that coming up. So it becomes, they're also going out as a group and going onto these beaches and Banjo, they're bonded as a class like you would, it's unbelievable how they bonded. All of them are so close with each other, and so that would also help. They would work with each other to solve problems, to come up with solutions, to do different things. They supported each other. The kids did these different exhibitions. They all supported each other. I mean, it was something that was quite amazing to see over the space of a year. And as a parent, I mean, we were blown away and absolutely loved the whole thing. Ben, similar to Max in the maths, you know, didn't really enjoy it, but you know, he learned to help solve problems and come up with new ideas. We finished the end of last year. I mean, you know, it was a shame just to finish. We all wanted to keep going. It was so fantastic. But you know, we were going back to Australia, and Ben turned around to me and he said, "I want to be back at school, Dad. You know, this was our holiday, but he wanted to be back at school." I mean, what kid just wants that? So I mean, we were very lucky, and I think that's, you know, but they all learn. I mean, you know, I look at it, they're all intelligent kids. The spoken word, the poetry, that they had to get up in front of the class, they got up in front of the school continuously. You know, that to be able to write their poems, get up and speak it. And some of the poems were very personal, extremely personal, but they got up there and did it, and they were confident to do it because they had the support of all their friends. And I think by getting outside of the school area, getting out and doing stuff with support with your friends, I think that was quite incredible. And you know, I think this way of learning is got to be, and once again, I don't think it's all about, you know, getting outside and doing that. You still have your basic learning curriculum, you still have to do your maths, so there's still the roll on, but it's expanding that further and letting the kids be a lot more creative with the way they're learning. So I think you can join them both together, still go to university, still get graded, but graded potentially in a different way. Not a strict grade on this, but being more creative about what you learn. So, you know, and it's all about, I have to say, to finish with, is the crucial part of all of this is the teachers. I mean, you can say the parents, but to be honest, I mean, we supported it. We didn't have, we could interact as much as we wanted, but we did, it was what the kids were bringing home that was blowing us away, and that's to do with the teaching. You know, so it's the critical part is you need teachers that are very open-minded with this way of learning that can bring it on board, you know, and then get the kids together to be able to take that.
I think actually we learned a lot last year as well as parents. It's really Max came home and he told us all this stuff. He was showing us stuff from YouTube that they talk about in the classroom or outside. he was bringing up discussion at the dinner table that we never discussed before. Super cool, actually, to get this new input.
I like the words for the song Political Injustice.
Yeah.
It's great. It was great fun for us as well to be a part of that. So.
You sure it's that?
I'll show them later.
No.
Does anybody here have any questions for other students or parents?
I want to say one thing. I think, yeah, like, it's been an amazing year you went through. I wish there had been even twice a week if it was possible to do something like this. I think it's been incredible. I think they learned so much like that, and I'm really encouraging this anywhere. Having said that, I think wait for the PYP program. I can see that, and I wish already from early age they would do this at more and more, because I really encourage that. But now I have another kid in middle school who's 13, and just those 2 years there, I don't see it happening on a later stage. I think this is great for smaller kids, younger kids up till now, and then they're prepared and they're dressed to continue into the really hardcore math, science, humanities, English on a higher level. But for up to this age, fantastic. I really encourage it. I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
I have to disagree slightly. I think Ben would be far happier, you know, and this learning outside, potentially going into a business orientate, you know, spending a day a week in a business or getting outside of the school, he would be far happier in NYP if he was doing something outside.
I was going to say, let's ask them, how do you feel about NYP compared to last year?
Yeah.
More boring.
But is it really? Because you have different teachers for different subjects. So it's got to be good and bad, right?
Yeah, it's good, but it's very, very different. It's very different, I think, compared to the PYP in a lot of ways.
Responsibility. And I feel like I'm moving around a lot as well. Like last year we stayed in like 2 or 3 classrooms, but now it's like 50 different.
Very safe. But wasn't it also like you were really a group together with James? You were a really strong group last year, and now it's more individual thinking.
I want
Yeah,
not a lot.
Any you guys? Okay, Kath and then Kate.
I was just going to ask you guys, so now, then, do you find there's more textbook sort of learning?
Elisa, you want to answer that one? Is it more book driven?
No.
No, not yet.
I just asked that because I know where the school I'm from in Hong Kong, that's one of the things that the students say that in the PYP, we don't have the inspiring, we don't have the same, well, we do have the resources, but maybe as you get out there, it's a bit more trickier. But yeah, lots of students there say with the NYP, they live in a certain way in the PYP, and then they get to NYP, and it does become very much textbook driven. I just wonder if it's the same for you guys.
There's a lot more in the book, I think. Yeah. But there,
It
we
depends
also
on what we're doing.
have a lot of manage that. I mean, use that a lot. So we are on computers a lot.
Yes, yeah.
I was just wondering if how you felt about continuing this style of learning into middle school. And would you be advocating for that? Would you be wanting to continue secret beach and your banjo experiences?
It's, from my opinion, I would really like to. You'd have to adjust it a bit to maybe to a bit of just a bit different, so that because you're moving up a level and you're in NYP. Yeah, so you just need to adjust it a bit if you were going to do that.
Yeah,
In what way would you adjust them?
Not as in like the math or different ways of doing things. So as in we were using nature, we could even go like a bit further, and we could even try different ways or solve it in a better, like in a different way, and just looking at different ways of solving the problem and stuff like that.
But you can still see the experience
Yeah.
of it would support you in
Yeah.
But if we did, like, kept on doing the beat thing at Bango, they don't have to, because from grade 5 to grade 6, you think, oh, it's phenomenal. You're already smart enough to then do it. It's not like quite like that, because first it's just in a classroom doing the math and the science and that in one classroom, but now it's like it's a way bigger step, so that's more challenging. So if we would have to do and keep on doing things, then it will have to be more like advanced, not as more, because like the science now is like really challenging and all the other classes, so it'd have to be a bigger step and not as much for to actually to learn as if it wasn't MIP did it.
I wonder who's telling you these things in MIP is a big step, and where is this coming from?
Well,
Where does
just you can feel it.
from your emotions?
It's
scary.
That's
a very good point.
Sorry about that.
It's not one word.
So, here's a question for you guys. Do you think that changing the place from moving from that beach, which is kind of a simple place now to you, I mean, you've been there 100 times, you know kind of everything that happened in there, you can predict what's going to happen the next day, and do you think changing place would actually suit your new program better? Could you apply what you learned in the class into a different environment?
What we do right now in MIP, I don't think we could do it so much on the beach, but
That's what I'm saying. Would you take that to a different, take your knowledge to a
Forest
different,
or plant?
or a factory, or just, whatever it is?
there's ways of doing it, because we weren't just on that beach every Thursday. We did go to other places. We were always going to different places. We were learning about other things. Like when we went Without Walls, like on our trip, school trip for a week, we went kayaking around a few places, and we did that, and yeah, that was really different. And there are ways that you could use it, but then you'd have to go to a different place or something.
So would you see that place in your mind? Do you have a picture of a place that would suit you better to help your learning and to help you probably understand things better, or just apply them?
Not really. And you could do it in any place.
So you could still go back to the same place, just
You
kind
just
of do
have
it
to
just differently.
just do it differently.
That's very good. That's very good.
I have one quick time.
Yeah.
You talked about how much more you base in books and all that thing in the NYP, and what we haven't mentioned yet is the diploma, which comes after that, where you know probably you're aware that goes even deeper. And I think the philosophy of the whole program, from the beginning all the way through, is you've had such a great experience in learning about how to learn and being curious. And in the NYP, you start to learn about the connections between things, and then you really get specialized in the diploma, very, very specialized. So you have, I think, a background that's invaluable, because you learn from each other how to tackle these problems. And whether you use university to get to be prepared, or you work in a hat factory, one thing we know is that employers look for people who can work as a team. And so have these experiences helped you learn about how to be a better team player with each other? Would you say?
Yeah. Very much.
How so?
Well, we've been working in groups nearly every time. It hasn't really been by ourselves. Well, that was in exhibition when we were by ourselves, but when we go on these beach things, we always are in a group normally, and we're always with someone else. We're not by ourselves.
I also feel like we get to learn way more about each other when we're outside of school because we do different stuff. We make graphs, we do plays, we geocache in groups, we do like everything in groups.
So what is a good team player? What are some of the skills you think you've learned of how to be a good team player?
Elisa, do you want to go?
Like, I feel like good team players, like everyone has a job, but you still help other people. And there shouldn't be like a leader or something like that, because sometimes it just doesn't work when someone's a leader. Someone gets angry or something like that. So I think everyone's a leader.
So you did your hand up. Did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, one day when we went, we did this design thing where we all worked together to build this little tent, kinda. Like one group would go off to get some bamboo, like cut it. Another group would cut some leaves for like the roof, and then another group would all put it together. There was like no leaders; we were all just communicating and working together. Yeah. Something to add about the design thing. Like lots of times when you work in groups, then it go a bit too much like. Then they go a bit like then lots of times there's a leader that just like came. Then it'll be a bit more like a bit. Lots of times someone will get a bit angry, like you're not helping or something like that. But I just have something to add. If I wouldn't say we were so much together with the classmates, but when we were in the banjo, that's where we did lots of alone work. But then we would be the one sitting doing the paperwork and helping, trying to get the banjo kids to learn them, and so that's when we were like, and not that we were not in a group.
With each other.
Yeah, but we were in a group with the banjo kids.
Lisa?
Well, I have something to add about the design thing. Everyone was having fun working together, communicating, like cutting leaves. Everyone liked their job doing it. And like when we came back in a few weeks, someone just removed that tent and put it in another place, and everyone got really sad because it was really hard work to make it.
Now, this comes back to the venue for a minute. Max, you write poetry. What do you notice about the poems that you write in class and the poems that you write on the beach?
As I said before, if I'm in like a little space, if I'm not like in a big space, I can't really think with my mind really. So I think better outside. So I feel like the poems that I make outside campus turn out better than the ones that I make in class inside campus.
So what might be some of the features of those poems? Like, are they more insightful? Are they more personal? What are the
I
things?
feel like the ones outside campus are way more creative than the ones I make in school.
And what about response from people who hear your poetry? Do they agree with it?
Well, people that hear my poetry, usually they don't really see a difference between well, some people do, but then most of the people can't really see a difference between the ones that I make in class and outside of class. But I feel like I can see a big difference between them.
Do you feel freer?
Yeah, I feel way more free if I'm.
It is the learning right there. I mean, it's not just about the team, this is it. It's why you're taking them there. It's actually because you can learn in other places. And I think Ben hit the nail on the head, you can learn anywhere. In response to your question, he was saying what could be any space. And I think we are really onto something.
I think they just felt free and relaxed, and they were just open. And and, you know, they were doing something physical, they were doing something social, they were doing some things that were community oriented. There was a bit of academics thrown in there, but it was done so subtly that they just enjoyed it so much. And I think that they were all very relaxed and open.
So when you've got those conditions, that sets them the learning flourishes.
Yeah, and as we saw in the first movie of the TED Talk, that kid he was talking about happiness. How can I become happy? What is happiness to me, and what would I be when I grow up? Yeah, what am I happy? What we could see from these Thursdays outside of class was just pure happiness. They came home, they were not tired, well, of course a little bit hungry as always, but they were happy and they did something, even if it was Bangu or the beach or they went to the mining museum or wherever they went, it was happiness.
And it was always an adventure.
Yeah.
Even if you came back to scratches.
Elisa, and then Christian.
I have something to add about the poem thing. Like when I'm in a class more inside, I have less ideas to do a poem about. And when I'm sad, I have something to look at and get an idea what to write a poem about.
I feel kind of the same a bit like Max about sitting in a room kind of makes you stressed, like there's no nature around you, but yeah, well, I know what Max said about having feels way better if you live in the nature, because this Thursday I went to his house and we just did some homework about the poetry one. Like it was like when we sat in the room, we were just walking back and forth, and it's just like you really stress because there's no nature around you, so we were just walking back and forth and just not like as good. And then I've seen Max when we went to the peak thing, like it would be way more creative because like you just sit on a rock or something.
Do you have advice for teachers who are planning learning experiences for these students? Do you have any advice for teachers?
Be creative.
Come on, that's what we want to hear.
So, happiness, it makes students push more to what they believe, what they like. So what our exhibitions was really just happiness and what we loved, and the more we loved it, the more we wanted to push to the limit of like having it. So having like mine was building a skate park, having the first skate park in Phuket, and it happened, and all of ours came, and it was really cool at the end to see what has happened.
Okay, so,
James,
bring this up.
I reckon we could gather enough if we wanted to go over and have a play.
I said your design.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Where
Where is it?
Look at that.
Christ, that cafeteria.
What they haven't told you is that these kids organised a charity concert and raised the money to build it with the help of their parents, but they took the responsibility of putting on an event attended by about 200, 300 people came to this event on Saturday afternoon, and it was brilliant. 10 at the time, 10-year-olds.
That's awesomeness.
Yeah.
That is great.
They put on a huge event.
Okay,
All of
I'm
us.
just gonna, did you have a last
I was
comment?
just going to ask you whether do you guys follow the same pattern in middle school? Because my question is based on the fact that I had the impression that you're not doing that in middle school anymore. So I was just wondering, are you still?
It's not on the same scale, we try. Like, and my new job is to make it happen
Oh, so
more.
you, okay.
So this is happening all in grade 5s?
This particular off-campus model is grade 5 only. And grade 4 it's once a UOI, not every week. So it's growing.
But for the little kids too, we get outside the classroom wherever we can. So if we're doing science, we go into the national park to do it. We don't do it in isolation. We take advantage of all resources.
I mean, we're really lucky, but there's parks in cities, and to go to a park for a day is better than nothing. Way better. So, thank you guys for bringing them here. Thank you guys for speaking
Yeah.
so candidly.